Hello, what's up, what's up, what's up? So, we're playing a game here against this fellow from Armenia, Ervan64. So he must be like 60 years old. And he's playing the knight f3 variation, so I like to handle it like this. And after this move, I like to play c6, so Slav. This is my style of play. And after bishop comes here, which is one of the main lines, I really don't remember this position at all. Oh yeah, I attack with h6, and if he goes back, then I capture this pawn. That's the key. That's the key concept. Now it's okay to capture here, and then get your bishop up there. And this pawn you might be able to really support it with this, because this bishop's not yet seeing anything. And after this bishop is put offside, as opposed to capture, as opposed to staying here or something, this becomes a much more playable move, basically. That's the point. And if he does go for this kind of setup, then of course you always have g5 and bishop here. So g5 most likely will push him back to g3, and then you can really threaten to win this by putting your bishop up here. So if his bishop captures this pawn, you can still capture that pawn. That's one of the key ideas with playing like this. And so that then raises a new dilemma. He might feel tempted to play a move like this. Or I believe there are even some lines where they play bishop here. Either way, I'm basically out of book for the most part here. I just had the general notion that I'm supposed to capture. Okay, so he has pawn bishop there. He has indeed. What if we go here and reinforce the same idea, basically? Reinforcing the exact same idea while developing a piece. Okay. So now his queen is in fact defending there. And now we can of course invest in defending this pawn. And after he comes here, we have to figure out what to do. And one thing I probably shouldn't do is capture with the knight, because then he can capture back with the pawn and gain a tempo on me and allow him to win that. So we gotta hold things together. Right now is not the time to give your opponent any tempo. We gotta maintain the tension. Yeah, it would be nice to double his pawns, but it would give him a tempo. And in the current flux of the position, that's not good for me. Queen here is playable, but what happens after this? Do I capture? This rook down the middle is kind of stressful. So it's stressing me out, man. Okay. Okay. Let's think about it. Think about it clearly. Let's say you capture, and he captures back with the pawn, enabling this threat and threatening there. You can pull back the knight, right? After that, things are pretty okay. I don't feel particularly uncomfortable as black, because it's pretty alright. These two pawns over here would in fact block white from any real shenanigans against my king should I castle here, I think. Of course, he will be able to open it up, maybe not. It's not fully clear, but doesn't look too scary. On the other hand, if I capture and he comes in with the knight, attacking this pawn, then I'll have to develop the bishop and defend that pawn, which is totally fine. So in either equation, I'm quite content. And what's the third alternative? Is to do something with the queen, but I don't actually have to. That's the point. I don't have to be too scared of this. Sometimes in chess in general, you want to get your queen off the firing line. But this might be one of those instances where there's no rush, and instead you can make a move which then forces your opponent to decide whether he wants to capture with the pawn or with the knight. And then based on what your opponent does, now you have more information and can play the more optimal move. It's like in poker where you have late position. When you have late position, then you have more information and can make a better move. So it's kind of like that. Now we're honing in on a weak pawn here, and he has to gain some tempo, so he's attacking my bishop. This bishop looks like a pretty powerful piece. This knight is quite blocked for the most part. He doesn't have any good squares to go to, so I don't want to trade these guys off. Do I want to keep the bishop here? It's a nice looking diagonal. It looks a bit vulnerable, but it's also looking juicy. Do I want to save that for my knight? Okay, I want to try to win this pawn, right? That's the key. What if I go back here? There's so many good options. It's hard to pick a favorite. Well, I'm going to go here. Okay, I thought of going here, but it just feels like it might end up being a loose piece after I capture here. I really don't know. But here I'm pinning the knight, even though it's already kind of in a bad position. And I'm retaining the bishop, which is a key point. The question was whether to keep him on this diagonal or now on this diagonal. It's a much smaller diagonal. That is true. That is true. Of course, I have this diagonal, or alternatively that diagonal or this diagonal. So, yeah, it's not clear which is the best diagonal that you want to focus on. This one, or this one, or that one. Clearly here would be the most defensive, and here seems the most aggressive. But even this is somewhat aggressive. All right. So strategically, we have played this quite well. We have to give me credit for that. He is a pawn down. We captured that pawn in the center, and now he's about to be a second pawn down, after which should be easy peasy, right? And all of this started just from knowing the good opening to play and how to play the opening. The middle game plans, it's not from experience, it's from study. You have to study games to know how to play the middle game of the opening sub variation. Look, when like move 8 and 9 deep here, and you have to understand the principles of it to carry you through for the remainder of the moves when things become less clear. So understanding openings and the principles and the motifs that are apparent in those positions enables you to play the middle game with a high level. So if you want to get better at chess, This is one key point. Understand your openings and know the middle game plans affiliated with them. That being said, I am on record for saying that openings are not the thing you should focus on as a chess player, especially if you're just starting out. If you're an amateur, if you're even in your 1500 to 1800 range, even that high, you're probably better off focusing on tactics and things of that sort, because that will help your game the most. End game tactics, middle game strategy, maybe. But yeah. So our opponent has ended up in a pretty deep think here, and rightly so. He's in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. I think he might consider moving knight here. Or he should just castle and give it up. Give it up, take, and try some sort of bullshit like this. No. He doesn't have many good counterplay ideas. That's one of my style of play is prophylactic style. I like to strangle my opponents slowly, just make their pieces lame duds looking at the wall. Sure, I've let his rook have a nice long line of sight, but that's about it. Other than that, his bishop's looking at the dirt, his queen's looking at dirt, his knight is really not looking at anything, and so is this knight. 4 duds and one golden piece. He resigned. That's how tremendous our position was. That's fantastic. Let's just see what the computer thought of that final position. Like -2, -2.5. What could he have done here? He could have castled, sure, and I don't even have to be in a hurry to take this. I can develop with bishop b6 or b7, whichever one, and just slowly build the position up. This is falling inevitably. It's the bottom line, and there's no hurry with it. So we can really build a position, and in fact, queenside casting seems to be a key idea. All right, hope you enjoyed that game, and see you later.